Home, call us first. Remax, out in front.
On World News Tonight this Monday, the president says it one more time.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never.
But the investigation continues. Monica Lewinsky seen but not heard. We'll take a closer look at how it is to write the State of the Union speech under this kind of pressure. And there is the other crisis. What will the president do about Iraq? His government says time is running out.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Reporting tonight from Washington.
Good evening. Here in Washington tonight, on the eve of his State of the Union address to the Congress and the nation, the president has felt obliged to say again that he did not have a sexual relationship with 21-year-old Monica Lewinsky. Ms. Lewinsky and her lawyer are negotiating today with the independent counsel about the basis on which she might testify to this alleged affair. And over there at the White House tonight, the president's staff is struggling to change the agenda. This town is already like a pressure cooker. And with all of Congress about to return tomorrow, it can only become more so. So we're going to begin tonight's reporting with Sam Donaldson, who's at the White House. Sam.
Well, Peter, under mounting pressure from members of his own party as well as others to speak out, the president has broken a 4-day silence to repeat his claim of total innocence in this affair. At a White House ceremony on child care programs presided over by his wife, which he had not planned to attend, Mr. Clinton stepped forward to make an emotional and somewhat angry statement.
I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
But just what was his relationship with Monica Lewinsky, reporters asked. To no response.
Oh, David, come on. You're beating a dead horse here. April.
Mike.
And once again, it was left to Press Secretary Mike McCurry to dodge and weave under a barrage of questions.
Why do you think that in the face of the president's very strong denials, a lot of Americans still apparently don't believe him?
In part, it's because many of you apparently don't.
This theme, that the press and Mr. Clinton's political enemies are responsible for any problems of credibility, is now being pressed vigorously by some of the president's aides and friends. But the president's own past may also be contributing to it.
Yes, I was Bill Clinton's lover for 12 years.
When Jennifer Flowers made that claim back in 1992, she produced audio tapes on which Mr. Clinton is heard, apparently, telling her to lie about it.
If they ever hit you with it, just say no and go on. There's nothing they can do. I just think that if everybody's on record denying it, you got no problem.
Now Monica Lewinsky claims in a taped conversation with a girlfriend that Mr. Clinton told her to lie about their affair. Of course, the president denies that. But, Peter, this simply adds to the doubts.
Sam, I have one more question about the White House, but just hang on for 1 sec, if you would. The State of the Union address tomorrow, as important as it is only one of the important events that's going to happen here. The other involves Monica Lewinsky herself. And if it does actually take place, it could be very important to the president's future. So here's ABC's Jackie Judd.
When Monica Lewinsky surfaced today, it was to meet her lawyers, who are still wrangling with independent counsel Ken Starr about whether she will cooperate in his criminal investigation.
He knows that I want essentially full immunity. He knows that I want and will accept nothing less than a promise not to prosecute. So how close we are is really in his hands, not mine.
Time is running out for negotiations because Lewinsky has been subpoenaed to appear before Starr's grand jury as early as tomorrow. If she does appear without a deal, her lawyer has said she would plead the Fifth. Starr also is searching for evidence to substantiate Lewinsky's taped claims of a sexual relationship with Mr. Clinton. Sources have told ABC News that Starr received information that an eyewitness discovered the pair in an intimate moment at the White House in the spring of 1996. Starr today subpoenaed Evelyn Lieberman, who was deputy chief of staff at the time, to testify about the alleged occurrence. The White House spokesman, Mike McCurry, claimed today that he has been unable to find any staff member aware of such an incident.
We've checked even with people who would have presumably been brought a report of any incident of that nature, and they categorically deny there was such an incident.
Privately, White House aides have suggested Lewinsky had an overactive imagination, but a source with direct knowledge of what Lewinsky has claimed has provided ABC News with 2 dates when Mr. Clinton allegedly called her and talked about sex. Starr can subpoena White House phone records to confirm those calls took place. It was subpoenas from lawyers for Paula Jones that led to all these revelations about Lewinsky. Today, Mr. Clinton's lawyer Robert Bennett argued that Clinton enemies are using the Jones case to destroy the president. And he's asked the presiding judge to move up the trial date from May so Mr. Clinton's innocence can be proven sooner rather than later. Peter?
Thanks very much, Jackie Judd. In all of that which is going on here, people are incredibly sensitive to public opinion. As for what you are thinking, many things it seems, but the White House is pleased that the president's job approval rating is still high. 59% approve, even though 57% of the people we polled said they think Mr. Clinton did have some sort of affair with Monica Lewinsky. Though only 36% say that the affair is reason enough for him to resign. However, if it turns out that the president lied under oath about it, 63% say he should resign. Which takes us back now to Sam Donaldson at the White House. Sam, you're there all the time. I only spent a couple of hours there today, but I thought that today people were feeling just a little better.
Much more upbeat here. That's the mood. The polls, somewhat. The fact that no witnesses have come forward. Now, of course, Ken the Star may have them, but they haven't come forward. The president making this very strong denial again, Peter, suggests to everyone that that's his story. And I'm not saying it's a story that's false. I'm simply saying that all of these things that you read over the weekend about maybe the president will admit a little of this or a little of that probably aren't true. That he is going to say no sexual relations, period. Go up tomorrow night in the State of the Union address, not mention this, according to White House aides, not say a word, just talk about the business of the country. By the way, Peter, this afternoon, he practiced for over 3 hours in the White House theater, the family theater. There's a photo released by the White House. His dog is on the floor behind him, I guess you can't see, along with a toy. But that was a long time, and it clearly indicates that the president believes this speech is very, very important.
Thank you, Sam, and dog scene. And on the subject of the State of the Union, later in the broadcast, we'll take a closer look at how 2 of the men working on the speech do it in this kind of an environment. And in a moment, some of the day's other news. Iraq is on the agenda. The White House says it is getting fed up with diplomacy going nowhere. And a perk for Americans from the Asian financial crisis. Gas prices lower than we've seen in years.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Charles Schwab.
Someday I'd like a slightly larger house. Security for my kids, maybe even a little bit for retirement. All right, a lot.
Schwab's Mutual Fund One Source gives you access to hundreds of no-load funds. And our valuable tools can help you build your portfolio. Call now for our free select list.
Because part of setting a goal is finding a way to reach it.
With all the scrubbing up I do, my hands can get really dry. That's why I'm glad this hospital uses Kerry. It moisturizes to heal my dry skin. It keeps my hands smooth and soft, so I can take care of my patients.
Kerry, it's trusted therapy for dry skin.
Fibercon or Metamucil, both have fiber for regularity. But I like Fibercon better.
Same natural action of fiber, but only Fibercon contains calcium.
And with Fibercon, I get my fiber in 2 caplets.
Fibercon, fiber and calcium in a convenient caplet.
Well, not for the first time. Amid all the White House turmoil, Iraq was quickly moving up the list on the president's agenda today. His aides briefed congressional leaders about possible plans for military action. The White House indicated that it is frustrated with the failure of diplomacy to clear the path for UN weapons inspectors. And so ABC's John McCarthy tells us tonight that the clock may really be ticking.
One clue to the timing of a possible military strike. In 11 days, a 3rd American aircraft carrier will arrive in the Gulf, overlapping for a few days with the ship it is to replace. It provides a window of maximum U.S. strength, plus a backup in case Saudi Arabia and Bahrain refuse to allow the U.S. to launch airstrikes from their territory. No decisions have been made to use force against Iraq, but the U.S., as part of a last-ditch effort at diplomacy, is now loudly threatening.
The diplomatic string the string for diplomacy is rapidly running out.
Among the last bits of string, Moscow has rushed a special envoy to Baghdad, while President Yeltsin has said Russia strongly opposes military action. Secretary of State Albright may soon travel to Europe and the Gulf to warn allies of American intentions. And for those who might think President Clinton's sex scandal is paralyzing the government, there was a warning from an unusual quarter today to Saddam Hussein.
He and his advisors should not make any decisions over the next few weeks based on the idea that America is in any way weaker or confused or unwilling to act. We will not tolerate the development of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq.
But the president's problems do raise questions with allies and enemies who are wondering if he can really concentrate on foreign policy and whether a decision to use military force might be influenced by his need for a diversion here at home. John McWethy, ABC News, the Pentagon.
One other item from Russia, less urgent but interesting. In Moscow today, the Russian government said it is now certain that Russia's last Tsar, Nicholas II, and his family were all executed and their bodies dumped into a pit at the time of the Russian Revolution. The Russians have done DNA tests on 9 skeletons which were dug up in 1991. Over the years, there has been speculation that some of the family might have survived that night. Still overseas in Britain today, the Queen Mother, who is 97, is said to be recovering nicely from the operation to have her hip replaced. The Queen Mother fell over the weekend at the royal residence in Scotland. When we come back, home again, and why gas prices are low and heading even lower.
I work for a dermatologist, so I see what people go through with psoriasis and eczema. That's why I'm excited about the latest therapy from Cordaid. Cordaid Intensive Therapy. In preference tests, it was chosen over cortisone 10. Cordaid Intensive Therapy has the most powerful medicine you can buy to stop the itch and help you heal quickly. Plus 7 soothing skin moisturizers. And there's no brand doctors recommend more than Cordaid. Cordaid Intensive Therapy. Today's preferred therapy for psoriasis and eczema.
Parenting is a constant learning process. What you have to do is prioritize.
Back in '88, Earl wanted to retire, spend more time with Tiger.
My dad taught me.
I met an American Express financial advisor. Dave is a personal friend of mine to this day. We trust each other because we got a track record.
It's about making smarter decisions.
We're a team, and that's when dreams can happen.
American Express Financial Advisors.
The nest is empty. Your work is done.
So powerful.
It's time to kick back and have some fun.
So agile.
You got the car now.
DeVille with the North Star system.
For who you are now, you're making whoopee.
DeVille for the time of your life.
Oh, look at you.
Men, is gray hair sneaking up on you, right under your nose, making you look too old?
Whoa, it is sneaking up on me. Up here, too.
You need Just for Men gel, made for the hard-to-color gray of mustaches and sideburns. Simply brush in this no-drip gel, and in 5 minutes, rinse. Gray's gone. Your mustache and sideburns blend perfectly with your natural hair color.
That gray won't sneak up on me again.
Just for Men gel, the sure thing for a natural look.
News about business today, there are big cutbacks to report at AT&T. The company will eliminate as many as 18,000 jobs. That's 10% of the workforce. The company says the cuts will be made mostly through attrition and voluntary retirement, but it's people everywhere on the ladder who are being affected. AT&T is even freezing some executive salaries. There was a merger in the computer industry today which enables Compaq, the world's largest maker of personal computers, to get into business computers. Compaq says it will buy Digital for $9.6 billion. We welcome a new business reporter to the broadcast tonight with a significant story on how the economic difficulties in Asia are having an impact here. As we've said before, sometimes it's bad for American consumers, sometimes it is good. In this case, good. Betsy Stark reports on the subject of much cheaper gasoline.
It's been almost a decade since gas has been this cheap. In many parts of the country, filling up has become a real bargain. Smyrna, Georgia, 76 cents for a gallon of regular. Hammond, Indiana, 95 cents. Fort Lee, New Jersey, 99 cents.
It's a simple case of supply and demand. The global supply of energy is going up, and it's occurring against the backdrop of some softening in demands.
In particular, a slowing in demand from Asia. The financial crisis there means businesses and factories have less money to buy oil. Here at home, mild winters in the Northeast and Midwest have cut down the need for home heating oil. Meanwhile, supply is up. The oil cartel OPEC just voted to increase production 10%, and the UN has given the green light to Iraq to sell its oil on the world market. Prices at the pump are likely to stay low as Asian economies continue to struggle and world oil production remains high. If anything, economists say prices could head even lower. Betsy Stark, ABC News, Fort Lee, New Jersey.
And it's nice to have her. On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrials gained 12 points to close at 77.12. On the NASDAQ market, stocks lost 14 points. We learned today that the Kennedys are going to give up their last operating business, the Chicago Merchandise Mart, in the family for a long time, basis of fortune. They've agreed to sell it to a New Jersey real estate trust for about $500 million. The sale goes individual family members giving more control over their respective shares of Joseph Kennedy's fortune. When we come back, pressure on the White House, the effect on the staff.
I'm going to take the stairs up to my office every day.
I'm giving up desserts during the week.
50 sit-ups every morning before my shower.
This new year, why not make a resolution that's easy to keep? Kellogg's Complete Bran Flakes. High fiber, low in fat, and a crispy taste that's easy to stick with.
Me? I'm going to walk a mile every day.
Kellogg's Complete Bran Flakes. An easy start to a healthier new year.
Even small coughs can be irritating. So for fast relief, take Robitussin cough drops anywhere.
Come on in.
Anybody home?
Sometimes the best reunions happen by chance.
We're hungry.
Now you can always be ready with new Color Lock storage bags from Ziploc. New Ziploc bags have a special Color Lock seal, the only color seal you can both see and feel. So what goes in Color Lock today comes out Ziploc fresh tomorrow.
Great meal, Mom.
You got something I could take this home in?
I think I could find something.
New Ziploc brand Color Lock bags. Ziploc was made for tomorrow.
Dilbert for Office Depot.
I prepare to enter the sensory deprivation chamber. I will experience no mental or physical stimulation for hours. All that, and I get paid too.
From the cubicle to the boardroom, Office Depot, the world's largest seller of office products, has it all. From paper clips to computers, file folders to file cabinets, all at guaranteed low prices. Business is crazy, but Office Depot makes sense.
In hospitals, speed counts. So when patients get heartburn, they get 1-minute Maalox. It starts to work on stomach acid in about 1 minute. Pepcid AC could take 45. Hospitals trust Maalox. Shouldn't you?
Count on 1-minute Maalox.
It is such a beautiful and peaceful place to look at night, the White House with the Washington Monument behind. Probably much of the country would like to take a closer look inside the White House tonight to see how the president and his inner circle are really dealing with these challenges to his credibility. And if you believe there is a crisis, the challenge to his authority. That's not an easy thing to do. And over the weekend, we're sure you noticed various presidential surrogates have been out and about saying the president is really focused working on the State of the Union speech for tomorrow night, that everything's going to be fine in time.
Thank you very much.
The State of the Union address is always a big event for the president. It takes several months to put together.
Community reinvestment is actually not a bad phrase.
In the West Wing of the White House, Gene Sperling worked straight through the weekend on the substance of it, everything from education initiatives to the Asian economic crisis. He's the policy wonk.
On the trade agreement, USTR thinks it's 240 right now.
But with the White House under such pressure to answer other questions, does he worry that the public won't pay attention this time?
Often what we have to do is try to put an idea and hope you'll cover it and somebody will see it. This is his one chance to talk directly to 60 million people.
Paul Begala was reluctant to give up his morning run either day this weekend, but even though he's a principal editor of the speech,
try to turn that into like an applause line.
He's had to give a lot of time to making the president's case on these character issues, on the telephone and on television.
There is an investigation. It will clear the president.
That is now a crucial part of his job.
It's what I do. I mean, this is my job. You could go to an emergency room and I would faint. Okay, but there are people who very coolly and calmly can take a shattered body and put it back together. My job's a lot easier than that.
Neither man is going to tell us what's in his heart. That is not their job. Having the country pay attention to the State of the Union speech, that is what they must focus on, despite the media's pressure.
He didn't elaborate on his denials of the past.
The country will drive this more than the elites. But I think after too much, they're going to start saying, okay, enough. Get out of my face with this. Will you check? We always use the 220 trade agreements. Yeah.
Gene Sperling says what so many insiders say. Bill Clinton has an uncanny ability to focus, no matter what is going on around him.
Is it frustrating as a policy guy to see another major policy speech overshadowed by the character question?
I think by keeping his focus and keeping our eye on the ball and what the American people care about, I think the speech will do quite well tomorrow.
Well, we shall see. Let's go up to Capitol Hill now because ABC's Cokie Roberts is with us this evening. Cokie, one assumes that the Congress is going to come back and be polite tomorrow night. What about after that?
I want to say I'm not on Capitol Hill.
I just noticed that.
But the Congress will be polite as far as we know. Vice President Gore went today to Capitol Hill and talked to a group of moderate Democrats and said to them, please be there tomorrow night and please give the president your support. They were planning to do that anyway. But then after the speech is over, they will come out and there will be hordes of reporters there, as there always are for a State of the Union message. And this will be the first shot that a lot of reporters have at members of Congress. They've been away. And of course, will be asking about the scandal and what they think about it, and that's where the coverage is likely to be.
In the week ahead, if things stay pretty much as they are now, how much trouble will the president be in with the Congress?
Well, he's already in a good bit of trouble with them because they are unhappy with the fact that the Democrats particularly, they felt like they were on a roll, that he had an agenda that they liked and they were ready to go with it. And now they think it's going to be hard for him to push it. It's hard for people to listen, hard to get the momentum going, and that they think that the Republicans will take advantage of a weakened president to attack them and attack them in the coming election. So he could have a serious problem with them as they all get together and start to talk about it.
Okay, Cokie, thanks very much. Lots of time to talk about that tomorrow night. We will, of course, cover the State of the Union at length, including the address. And when we come back this evening, art and reality.
The war between the generals is over, but the war for human healing rages on.
Through 8 decades, the women doctors of the American Medical Women's Association have worked for the health of all people, wherever the need. Now, out of concern for your health, they've granted their acceptance to supplements for the very first time. These from Nature Made.
When I look into the faces of those we help, I know it is right for us to do this work.
Nature Made is intensely proud to bring you the first supplements to earn the acceptance of the AMWA. Nature Made, trusted by the ones you trust.
Only by going alone in silence can one get into the heart of the wilderness. All other travel is mere dust and hotels and baggage and chatter.
When I feel fresh, I can embrace. I can share. Laugh.
reach. I can shout. With Always odor-absorbing panty liners, you're free to be and do what you choose. Only Always panty liners have a unique core and a fresh weave cover that work together to help keep moisture and odor away from you, so you can get that always fresh feeling every day. I can let go. All these panty liners from Always. Feeling fresh is being free.
Hi, I'm Drew Carey, and I'll be hosting the 25th American Music Awards here on ABC. Hey, check out who's going to be there. You don't want to miss it. And if you're lucky, maybe I'll play a little accordion for you.
Drew Carey hosts the 25th Annual American Music Awards, ABC Tonight.
Just before our last report, a brief review of the developments in the White House crisis today. President Clinton said more forcefully today that he did not have a sexual relationship with the White House intern Monica Lewinsky. Lawyers for Ms. Lewinsky are still negotiating with Special Prosecutor Kenneth Starr for possible immunity from prosecution for her in exchange for her testimony. And finally from us then, art imitating life and the concern that it may be the other way around. We've been talking tonight about how hard it can be to govern the country during a crisis like we are witnessing now. As we heard earlier, the White House is even nervous that its Iraq policy might be perceived to be influenced by the president's personal problems. All this intrigue and drama sounds like a pretty good movie plot. ABC's Beth Nissen reports that in a way, it already is.
Sexual misconduct occurred inside the Oval Office.
In Wag the Dog, the nation's president has sex with a young visitor to the White House. His aides stage a phony war to divert public and media attention away from the presidential scandal.
The president's going to go to war with Albania in about 30 minutes.
In the real White House, officials are actually concerned about what might be called Wag the Dog syndrome, concerned that a decision to attack Iraq now might be seen as an effort to spin the nation's attention away from the president's character problems.
The circumstances of the piece of fiction showing up when we're dealing with deadly reality may be less than fortunate.
Some White House officials are said to be equally concerned about the portrayal of the president in another movie to be released in March.
If you believe what you read in the paper.
Primary Colors is based on reporter Joe Klein's fictional account of the Clinton presidential campaign.
A hairdresser has come forward alleging a long-term affair.
Hollywood insiders say movie makers aren't trying to satirize or hurt President Clinton. Many of them support him. But studios and directors do bank on America's fascination with certain stories.
We want to look into the closets. We want to lift up the rug. We want to see a little bit of the dirt.
And nothing is quite so dirty as stories of illicit sex, especially involving a powerful public figure. Beth Nissen, ABC News, New York.
And that is our report on World News Tonight. Later this evening on Nightline, they'll take up this crisis again. And we will be here in Washington tomorrow night for the State of the Union address by the President. It'll be an important day. I'm Peter Jennings. We hope you have a good evening and good night from Washington.
Stay with ABC News for the latest on the crisis in the White House and for the President's State of the Union. Peter Jennings reports from Washington on World News Tonight, tomorrow.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABC News, now always on.
If you rise, you will be shot.
14 hostages, one train, no escape.
New York does not give in to terrorists.
Edward James Olmos and Lorraine Bracco in the film critics call remarkable.
He'll execute, no question.
A world television premiere, The Taking of Pelham 123, ABC Sunday.
Good evening, I'm Ann Nyberg. News Channel 8's Mark Davis reports live from Washington on the latest developments in the Clinton sex scandal. And what's it really like being a White House intern? Local students talk about their experiences at 11.
I've always had a problem with Wade, so I find it terribly hurting when the media wrote about being called the Duchess of Pork.
Weight Watchers introduces the 1-2-3 Success Plan.
Now, I don't know whether you saw me those months ago, but it's worked.
A diet breakthrough, easy to learn, easy to live with.
I've lost 10 pounds. Well, nearly 11, actually.
Just count the points and lose weight. Count on it.
If you're brave enough to walk in the door, let's do it together.
Join now for $8.95. Get this points finder and free registration only at Weight Watchers.
With Plymouth, this is what you pay for, and this is what you get. Take, for example, Plymouth Neon. You get all this. And now these special savings. Get $1,500 cash back or 1.9% APR, so you can save over $2,700 in finance charges.
One more time. This is what you pay for, and this is what you get.
Plymouth Neon, only at your local Plymouth dealer.
From the Sony Pictures Studio,